Welcome to Chasing the Beats, a show dedicated to weeklybeats.com artists, their songs and stories from the 2024 season. I'm your host, SQF, and our guest today is Franz Tormer. All right, welcome to Franz Tormer, aka Scottix or Scott UX, depending on how you like to read things. Scottix is his Weekly Beats name if you're looking for him on there. Thanks for being on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I've been really excited about this all week.
Awesome. And shout out to Viridian Loom for rounding you up.
Yeah, thanks for that too. I was really pleased to see the ping.
Yeah, because the tracking people down is the most arduous part of running this show. And
yeah, no, I saw some of those. I went over to their SoundCloud and reached out to them on IRC, and
yeah,
ridiculous.
And that is mostly in relation to Q-Rosh, which I am in contact with, and we are working on something. So yeah, I was looking back through your stuff and realized that I first came into contact with your Weekly Beats works with some of your great Weekly Beats motivational songs.
Oh, hell yes. Yeah. Dude, that whole thing came out of I had two motivations for Weekly Beats 24. Two goals were to use my voice more, and that one I think went pretty well. And then the other one went horribly, which was to comment on people's songs more. I'm the Weekly Beats villain in that regard. I have such a bad time actually commenting on people's music. A lot of
it's
times,
tough.
I hope you're not hearing the sounds of New York passing by my window.
It's all right. My neighbor's dog is always in this podcast.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, cool. Yeah. So we got guest stars all over the place.
Yeah. So you set out to use your voice more.
Yes.
And that showed up as the motivational speaker guy, which is perfectly executed. And I felt like that came about pretty early on in Weekly Beats, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, I was trying to force myself to sort of dip my toes in the water and actually start using my voice on something. And I thought, well, singing is really high stakes, so let me just just speak some words. I think it was the ZomboCom clone that I did. You are in Weekly Beats or whatever it was. Yeah, early internet.
I felt like it came at a time where I personally needed to hear some motivational coaching.
Hell yeah.
And was this your first Weekly Beats?
No. So I tried starting in 2014. I got probably around 10 done scattered throughout the year and then just fell off the face of the earth. I tried again in 2016. Again, probably something like 10, really littered about. And then 2018 till now, I've been doing Weekly Beats the whole year.
Nice.
Although I will say, on a technicality, which is the most accurate of ways to measure these things, I am only 51 on 2024 because my first song, I was working on that song and some variants of it for a game jam. And so that song ended up sort of bleeding, and Sunday came and went, and I saw that the deadline had passed only the next day and realized I'd missed it. So 1 week missed, but I say the spirit of the thing. I was making music.
We'll let it slide. You were still making music. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of got you over the hump to like the years that you didn't really commit to it? Like what made you finally say, all right, I'm doing it?
I got it. It had to be a couple of things. I know one, which I've heard people say in the podcast before, and I just hear people talk about Weekly Beats, is you do a lot of music making, but you don't release any songs. Mm-hmm. And I think I had been doing Weekly Beats in 2014 and 2016. I'd been doing it on either my OP1 or on an iPad mini running Cord Gadget. And that was great. And I had this perfect time carved out to work on those through the week. But if I just wasn't feeling it, or I was beat up by work, because I did it on my commute, I just kind of fell off, and I was like, I need to just carve out a specific time of the week. And so every Sunday, right, the eternal procrastinator, every Sunday at noon, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make a song, and then I would get to it and I would make the song.
Nice.
Um,
Scheduled procrastination.
yeah. 2018, I was like, I'm gonna meet the criteria as minimally as possible every week or better. Like, there are so many tracks, even this past weekly beats, where it's at least a minute of something. and, and it's not always good. It might not always be music, but it is something. So that's what got me through 2018 and 2020. And, you know, there are other numbers of years in between. And now here we are.
And kind of back to your like origins of music making with your iPad and the OP1, what were you kind of experimenting with music wise before then?
So even before the OP1 and the gadget, I was doing a lot of chiptune. I think I really got into music production when I was working often as like some form of music performance at local churches, because I used to be very about that. No longer, but it used to be really about that.
Yeah.
And so I did music with church, and so that was a lot of guitar, and I would like get a cool guitar pedal stuff going. I started bringing keyboards and synths into the mix. Um, and from there, I was like, well, I definitely just need to make my own stuff. I got a hold of Reason. I think it was Reason 3 is how far back this was going. And I would just make doofy little instrumental only songs in Reason. And then I got into chiptune, and I was making stuff in like LSDJ a bunch. And I was getting like trash 80s, what is it? MGB cart with the Game Boy Link, and like I
Nice.
got a MIDI NES. I was going all in on it, and I was having a great time with that. And I think that's the way that I found Weekly Beats, was because I think this was originally an 8-bit people's or collective sort of
Mm-hmm.
effort. I know Trash has been maybe the front name of it that people recognize for the most part, but I think it still was kind of there was a bit of a group effort going there.
Right.
But yeah, that was sort of how I got into it in the first place. But I was making stuff in uh, GarageBand, Reason 3, eventually Ableton, but just like lots of chiptune for a really long time.
What kind of got you out of the chiptune realm?
I think I bought a quote real synth. Well, Reason did help. I got to play around with a lot of those things and got really into just like the fake rack synthesizer experience. And then eventually I ended up getting like, I got a Moog Slim Fatty, and
Nice.
I got a Prophet 12. Both of those, not not the best synths in hindsight, but at the time they completely opened up my world to like what a synthesizer could
Yeah.
do, and like that just classic analog structure to it. But yeah, I just started like kind of branching farther and farther away from that. I think not the least because I had all these guitar pedals that helped me sound more ethereal and ambient, and you know because I think there's this incredible overlap between the praise worship music for a contemporary church and every ambient guitarist on YouTube. There's just this incredible, I mean, that Venn diagram
Yeah.
it's tight. It's very tight. So that just sort of comes with the territory. And yeah, I mean, I was essentially at some point I was drowning my Game Boy in like delay and reverb and other sorts of whatnot. And I was like, I could just use different synthesizers.
Yeah. I mean, it's another kind of sound design, really.
Absolutely.
Just not inside the synthesizer.
Oh, absolutely. No, pedals were also the gateway to modular, which is completely out of frame here, but I've got
Oh
more
boy.
than a couple of those.
I'm doing my
Which
best to stay away.
I mean, they don't make their way into just about any of my weekly beats, so I can't recommend them. Not a good investment purely on am I using them? Not often, but we'll see.
But fun to experiment with.
So cool, man, to look at too. You just look at them and go, "Wow, that sure is there."
Look at that on my desk. Look
Jeez.
at it. Uh, so your last several years of weekly beats, have you like set out on any like particular goals, or you're just like trying to do 52?
Yeah, I think somewhere. around maybe it's the 2016, it might have been the 2016 or maybe the 2018 year. I did a song that I eventually was like, I like this song. It was on Gadget. And I was like, I like this song enough. I'm gonna actually start publishing music because I had just been uploading garbage to SoundCloud, and I was like, I'm gonna actually upload things that I care about, and I got some art made for it, and I published it, and I was like, hell yeah! And I came up with the name Franz Tormer, and just started like, well, I should make more, I guess, and that sort of led me to let's make a track that actually goes somewhere, that actually complete the whole process, and I think my mom, at my request, got me, of all things, it was this Dead Mouse masterclass on the masterclass.com or whatever.
Oh, nice.
I was just like, you know what? I like the way that Dead Mouse actually puts together songs, even if he's kind of a tool. But let me see, let me see if I can learn Andrew Huang's class thing as well a little bit. And both of those, I think, just helped me in the actual finishing. That final, what is it? What is it? The first 90% of a song takes 90% of the time, and the final 10% of a song takes the remaining 90% of the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hope I said that right. Yeah, and so, yeah,
Either way, the last 10% takes 90%.
no, exactly.
So,
It
yeah.
does. It does. It takes almost as much as the first bit. And finishing these songs is so difficult. So,
What did you kind of pick up from the Dead Mouse stuff?
I feel like what I picked up from the Dead Mouse one way less than what I picked up from Andrew Huang. If there's a review to be gleaned in between the lines there,
Okay.
but I did pick up using almost like, what is it, like pedal, like not pedal like guitar pedals, but like that pedal tone kind of thing where you just have this one drone note that centers how you write stuff. And I'd very much been, especially since I moved over to Reason and then later Ableton, I was somebody who was clicking in the piano roll to figure out where I wanted notes to be, and got my
Mm-hmm.
handle on theory that way. But centering with that note and then allowing myself to pick, like, modal shifts and shit like that around being able to return to that, or at the very least being able to know when to depart from that pedal tone, or
Yeah.
coming back around at the end of the loop to make sure that it all does piece together well. That was kind of good. And also I learned about Cthulhu, which is just a fun way to mess with your ARPs. And I think the biggest thing with Cthulhu that I learned from that is just the notion of letting Cthulhu, like, programming out how Cthulhu will take your chord and spread out the note order. Um, and like, design where you want the first, fourth, whatever, pick that note order, then record the output of that to another MIDI channel and reposition them manually, so you have this good foundation of kind of a fancier, like, and I guess what I could have been doing was just pushing the keys in manual order and doing just that ARP mode, order pressed or whatever.
Right, right.
But like, this is kind of how I got to it there. So that was it. So yeah, not much from the Dead Mouse. And but the Andrew Huang, there was a lot about actually taking the song, that final, like, that final 10%, with things like, how to transition between parts of the song, and how to leave room for things, and how to build and segues and all these little extra bits of touch up, and then paying attention actually to the mastering, and not just saying, well, I've hit export on Chord Gadget, so it must be fine.
Yeah.
So
Or I hit the master button in some plugin and it's done.
yeah. I mean, I've done my fair share of that too with Ozone 9. I'd like to say I do better now getting the mix into a good shape before that, but
And
still let the robot handle that part.
I mean, the robots are helpful a lot of times.
On
So,
occasion,
yeah.
it can be said.
And it's kind of more impressive knowing that all of your songs were made on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's probably a couple exceptions. One of my favorites, I ended up actually, it took me on and off through a whole week, but that was almost more to do with the fact that it was with a new piece of gear. And I say new very slant ways, because it's an ancient piece of gear that I just happened to get for it's new to me.
New to you, yeah.
Yeah.
You had
And
there was a learning curve.
I had to figure out what was going on with its whole workflow, but a couple of songs ended up taking time that way. I think I had a couple tracks I did on the Polyend tracker, and that similarly took me a little while to kind of get used to the flow there. But
for the most part,
generally speaking, no, if you hear a song that I made, with rare exception, it's from around noon or later until deadline. And then
okay,
there
all
it
right.
is.
So you're still spending sometimes a significant amount of time on Sunday.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
Okay, cool.
ideally for me, the ideal was like I have put off all this energy and finally said you have to spend it now. And so I just sort of, shut down any other sorts of distractions like, closing out applications, phone is flipped upside down, all that kind of crap. And I just go, and there's been more than a few songs where I end up right at up submission time and I have forgotten the passage of time is this ongoing thing. And and I look up in a panic to realize I've got like 2 minutes to get this thing bounced and uploaded.
You're one of the ones on Discord that's like, I'm exporting. Hold wait.
I have had to ask, like, can I please get a re-upload? Can I get an upload link? I'm a minute late, please.
uh, I was always too afraid of cutting it that close, so
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to be done by like Friday.
That's so good. That's such a good thing to do consciously with your decision making. I wish, God, I wish I had that. That's
But
awesome.
I also don't work like straight through. I'm like
Sure.
little bits here and there.
I mean, I had a lot more M8 tracks in previous years, and I would do the same thing. I just had M8 at my desk, and I'm like, all right, music break, let's go.
Yeah, M8 time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And ever since they put the timer on the M8, then I knew like about how long I'd spent making something.
Oh, I gotta look at that.
So like if I got to like the 3 hour mark, I'm like, I better just start arranging something because otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
like, it's not going to come together. And then usually, on average, I finish a song in like 5 hours.
Yeah.
So
After that, yeah. I mean, or you could risk getting into that space where you're making minor changes for ever and ever, and then you come to the next day and you're like, the hell happened here? I remember
yeah,
having a good track, and then I got into a fugue state of making micro adjustments, and now,
just a few little tweaks until it's terrible.
yes, I've ruined it perfectly. It's great.
Now I'm pretty good about like, okay, that sounds good. Come back the next morning, listen to it. All right, it's done. On to the next one.
That's good. Yeah. I think I am better about that now, and I catch myself when I'm digging, following the right rabbit down to the Wonderland and making terrible decisions.
What do you felt like you got better at in 2024?
Probably okay, so a little bit just doing anything with my voice, obviously. I think I've
Right.
dabbled a couple times with voice, but like literally the technical aspects of doing stuff with my voice. I think how to actually do the voice workflow in Ableton, because it's just I'm not often doing live performance into Ableton that I then can't, like, I'm playing a keyboard in, I can just quantize these notes.
Right.
I can
Right.
pitch everything around. And I've got Melodyne. So I have occasionally gone in on the voice and done some little micro tweak, but that did lead to an Alice in Wonderland moment where I was hearing, I think, barely, not like cents, not even of pitchiness on this one note in one of the songs, and I couldn't stand it, and I had to like leave. I had to put it down and go like, it's actually fine. It's fine if it's this far off.
Yeah, you're like, I'm used to hearing perfectly in tune synthesizers.
Well, and like the rest of it was, I don't think the rest of it was not pitchy. It's just this one note was
Yeah.
really bugging me. But yeah, no, the synths, because I think that was the other thing I've gotten better about is I've been doing a lot. I do a lot over the years in Weekly Beats, doing the occasional preset stuff, but sort of pairing that with some sort of sound that is just crafted from the ground up, like, like patch in it, or in more cases than not, I have the Korg 2600 M, the little guy, the little
Oh
version.
yeah, yeah.
I love it. I love it so much. One of my favorite synths for sure. I think that this thing should have been an actual education tool and not been snatched up by people who wanted to play it for music purposes, because it's so perfect for that. But I use that on a lot of tracks, and of course there's no digital anything with it. Like, it's not saving anything. I think the digital
Right.
brains are just governing the MIDI in
Hmm.
of mapping, right, note
But
CV,
where
and
where the knobs are
it's
where
almost
they are.
nothing. Yeah, exactly. I think at most it can give you an extra CV out, right? You get like keyboard, and like a mod CV and gate, and that's all that's coming out from MIDI. But it's so great because if I do want to save what's going on with it, I have to take a picture with my phone.
Yeah.
And I added a tiny modular with it for just a couple extra like modulation and like some VCAs, because maybe if it's lacking on anything, it's maybe a couple VCAs for like your modulation sources. But I added that, and so that has to be in the photo as well now. But
Gotta save them
I think
settings.
I think my knowledge on this synthesizer and with any of these synths in general is something that's just hopefully always going up, but definitely feeling comfortable actually live performing on it while it's like rendering out in real time, because it's an external whatever.
Right.
Having that confidence to say, I know when I want to move this filter over, or
Yeah.
doing a live jam and recording down something because I know it's just sounding too perfect to catch in real time again.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know. Those sorts of things. And I've gotten worse about using other pieces of gear, and I've also gotten worse about the cleanliness of my desk. But
I feel that. Yeah. And your vocal stuff, I think listening back through your songs, I was amazed at the variety of the vocal stuff that you
oh,
did.
fantastic.
So there's not only the motivational guy, but there's like, and we're gonna listen to some of these, like full blown character voice skits
Hell yeah. I That's
and
so good to hear that actually worked for
singing.
people.
Like, your singing is fucking amazing,
Oh, thank you.
and as someone that, and I've mentioned this several times, like, my goal for 2026 is to use my voice more.
Hell yes. That's one of the things I was going to ask you about when I was listening to previous episodes, was this guy needs to use his voice more. You got a great voice. So it's like, we're going to get on here
And
and have a gravel off. It's going to be
yeah,
awesome.
you're an inspiration because,
Beautiful.
uh, like, it when I think about using my voice, I think about singing, but I
Hmm.
didn't really consider a lot of the stuff that you did throughout the year as something to create, like, so you mentioned a little bit that you kind of landed there by like, singing is scary, I'm going to start with motivational weekly beats guy. So how
Yeah.
did you finally get up to singing?
It's one of those situations where the idea comes fully formed in your head, and you're like, I know what I have to do, and I know I've been doing this long enough that I know what needs to happen to get me there.
Mhm.
So the the song that I think we might even be listening to it this time, it might be one of the ones we're listening to, but the I don't wanna,
Yeah.
that one, the one with the singing, I was like, I don't want to do weekly beats. If I'm going to have fun with this, I have to at least kind of nod and wink at that aspect of
Yeah.
things. I can definitely write some doofy ass lyrics in like a short piece of time and make goofy. Whenever I'm making these goofy songs, I've always got Jean-Jacques Perry in the back of my head, like 70s synthesist guy who just makes the goofy. He made honestly just the most goofy, wacky, beautiful music you've ever heard in your life, and it always brings a smile on my face. And so I tried to channel a little bit of
Awesome.
that with my instrumentation, and no, it's great. But yeah, it
And
was that.
you hadn't done any singing or like this character work prior?
I mean, character work. I could make a really lame case for. I've been doing that forever. Like, I'm just always dropping in and out of different voices for
Right.
fun.
I mean,
But
I do that too, but I've never recorded it.
right. So I think that there's this part of me that's just I think particularly I've been trying to, as I mentioned with the game jam music at the start of the year, I have been trying to sort of motivate myself in the direction of, like I'm doing weekly beats now. I have the motivation. I know I can complete these. Let's
Right.
do a new thing, which is I want to do the reason I think I started composing in the first place, which is make music for video games. And
Yeah.
in that angle, I've also been like, I should absolutely try and do some sort of voice acting stuff for video games. And
Yeah.
so there's a little of that interspersed of like, let's see how well I can actually channel the character before hitting record and like work on it. Like one of the later ones, the weekly beat guy in a Dark Souls, that guy took a few iterations. That honestly took
All
the
right.
bulk of it was just figuring out that character, because obviously, for one, this is the way that my voice sounds and my accent is, and so like that dude sounds way different, and I don't want to like
Yes.
approximate an accent and then just end up sounding like really inauthentic or mocking of a certain
Yeah. Yeah.
accent. I want to make sure that I'm coming to it from like almost like this is how my voice sounds and I love this. And so that's why I think that's why the
So you
motivational weekly
spent a
beats
week.
guitar guy, sounds the way he does. I have that guy locked in. I know that guy because that's a
Yeah.
guy I like to be. And then this dude took, the song backing track for weekly beats guy in a Dark Souls game took nothing. That was I knew it was going to sound like. I said, this is what instrument we use. We'll put it through this effect. It's going to sound like this. It's going to be great. And then I think all the way up to whenever I ended up uploading it, the hours was just trying new tracks, making, shouting assorted expletives and hearing my wife laugh in the background. She's just like, was that not it? So it's really great. But yeah, it was a lot of work, but it was very
I
fun.
was gonna ask if you spent like a week doing some like method acting where you only spoke in that voice.
I had the concept early in the week, and so I was just periodically like I was playing some Dark Souls games and trying to get the vibe down of how they were
Yeah.
actually, all of them end their sentences with and it's like, okay, I got I got to at least do that. These weird little creeps that they are. So
That's great. And other vocal stuff that you want to try next year, or are you planning on doing weekly beats
yes.
next year?
Oh, I think I'm intending to weekly beats until I die, and hopefully that means
Awesome.
for a really really long
Yeah.
time. But
Yeah.
at the very least, I'm gonna I'll die doing what I love, and that's apparently weekly beats. I look forward to it every year. So yeah, no, you're not. No one's getting rid of me yet. We'll just see
Great.
if I get better about commenting on other people's music. But
Others
with the
would
vocal
others would
stuff,
appreciate that, but
others would greatly appreciate it. So I should absolutely do that more. But no, I'm absolutely doing more voice stuff. I intend to sing more. I think, unfortunately, I think the easy way to get into doing some more actual singing stuff, the easiest way would be to do covers, but we can't really do covers without
yeah.
permission.
Yeah.
And Konami is not going to give me permission to cover Snake Eater on weekly beats. So that's at the very least going to have to go up somewhere else. But
Yeah, I think that's all when I, on my journey to maybe I should sing is like, oh, well, now I have to write lyrics.
oof.
And boy, that's hard. Uh,
Yeah. Well, that's the only one I'm singing on has doofy ass lyrics, right? It's like
right. Yeah.
I am already exposing a certain amount of my soul with like the music making itself, and now I'm bringing in my voice, and to try and say anything remotely sincere or
Oh,
it's
yeah.
difficult. It's hard.
So difficult. Yeah. I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, hopefully
Or,
we do.
I'll have an AI writing companion or something.
Oh no. Pay somebody on Fiverr at least.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'll probably, or just make up whatever comes to my head. And it's probably, I think it's just easy to overthink lyrics,
Mm-hmm.
which I really like your goofy ass lyrics. I mean, they really work, and
Yeah.
it's like so wonderfully executed. We're definitely going to listen to it. I'm breaking the mold by doing 7 songs just to include that one
Hell
because
yeah.
it's like a minute and 17 seconds long.
Oh
Like
yeah.
we have tons of guests with like 10-minute long songs, so we can sneak in an extra
Right.
like 1
Yeah,
minute
I
one.
intentionally didn't pick some of my 11-minute songs because it's just like we don't need a this is no way. Hell for the momentum of the podcast. I think listening on their own
Well,
is great. Yeah.
we're here to listen to songs of all lengths and all genres,
Right, but
and
not
you
mine.
know.
Not mine that are long. That's what I'm getting at. We're not
Okay,
here
okay, gotcha.
no, other
Uh,
people's stuff is amazing and that's great.
I think we should listen to the Weekly Beats guy and a Souls game since we've been talking about it. I think people
Yeah.
need to hear it, and then we can continue the discussion.
Let's definitely.
All right, here we go.
Ah, hello, stranger. Not often I see no face around here. You must have traveled very far indeed. But what would ye seek in this land of Weekly Beats 2024? So far away from home? Not simply passing through. No, says I. Ah, but such idle prattle serves no one any good. I will only say that if you truly seek the fabled Week 52, you've come the right way indeed. You see, it so happened, a long time ago, that Edwin the Brave, such was his folly, that in all the land Westphalia fell to a terror, divined by the cursed oracles, such luminance. So black she was barefoot for some reason, Miyazaki, but alas, such wisdom did not meet. And of course, that brings us to the final stretch of your journey here. Just ahead. Now that I've told you the secret, in great detail no less, to surmounting any creative block you might encounter, you may seek the path to find Week 52 through the dismal forest ahead. Best of luck to you. Ah, stranger, I've already told you all I know. You'll find no more answers here.
I mean,
Perfect.
so wonderfully executed. Tell me about your vocal processing on that, because that's my other thing of like, I don't know that I want to hear my actual voice
Yeah.
in a song, you know?
Yeah, I mean, with this one, I was trying to go almost like what's the word pastiche caricature of the way that stuff sounds in, especially in earlier Souls games, where they're they're not mixed the way that they are in like your typical action games, where like the voice it's movie style, it's up front and supposed to be heard and understood. So
Mhm.
I pushed it a little bit back, and I did a high pass filter to take out some of like I tried to keep my face away from the mic to keep some of the bass down generally, not a lot of rumble, and do a little bit of a high pass to cut out even more. So you can hear that both with the volume gap and the lack of bassiness, this person is sitting a little away from you. And then I got into sort of the technical aspect of the way that I've always been fascinated by this playing the games. The way that they do reverb in Dark Souls games is it's that like that delay style where it's like 100 little delay lines all like beating, or like maybe not
Oh,
lines exactly, but just like it's just delay that's sort of beating against itself really, really quickly. And, it's
like
got filters and all
slapback
that.
almost.
Like slapback, yeah, with like the regen up, but maybe some filters down. And so, when you crash through something in Dark Souls, it sounds like pure ear hell. And I wanted to do that. So like I made sure like there's no reverb that lasts longer than a second in this sort of thing, if I can help it. I used one of my probably too numerous bit reduction plugins. Who needs this many bit reduction plugins? This guy. But I used one of those. I think I might have used Amigo for one of the synths, like dragged a patch that I did on one of my synths into the Amigo to play for the background bit, just to get that rompler style that they were using a lot. So, but with the voice, yeah, it was like a lot of like make this person feel like they are a bit away from you. I think I kept in whatever noise was happening with the sample. I sort of kept in around it, but I would cut it to dead around the performances, but just, you know, almost to leave more of that cruft that might have shown up during production. And yeah, and there was a slapback at least a little bit in there just to get the. I think that slapback might have been part of some convolution thing of like a room this size, but my mic's not picking that up.
Yeah.
But just all these things to try and make it feel just a little bit indie and jank, even though Dark Souls, we hardly call it pure, totally indie, maybe double A by the time it came out. But yeah.
And then the background, how did you make that?
Yeah, so that was a lot of, I think that was some preset hunting, a lot of preset hunting. So I think I did some of the synth stuff, as I mentioned, with like one of my existing physical synths. I just did like a one shot little, like I hit a note, and then I put that into Amigo, which is this beautiful, if folks aren't familiar, it's this really cheap little VST to give you Amiga style sampling controls like you would have in like one of their trackers or something from back in the day. And so it's obviously, it's doing the playback is that rough, like it's just speeding up and slowing down the sample. And so like different periodic elements of the note then become faster and slower. And it's just very fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing that for a bit of the drone stuff. I was also doing some preset hunting with Wave State. And I think probably Wave Station, the VST for the Korg Wave Station original, and just like looking around and trying to avoid using the ski resort, which is just so textural and interesting. But just, finding some samples in that department. I think it's possible that I used Tal software has a sampler as well. I think it's just called Tal Sampler. And I love using that one for the same reason. So any of these probably were in the mix for that sound. But yeah, that almost was a one shot in terms of recording the actual like note information, and then it was just sort of layering, like let's put a little bit of a
Got it.
drone, let's put this bell that just chimes every now and then, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that, like tink.
Oh, and then that one, I actually went and looked up like sample CDs for that were in use by game devs at the time, because a
Oh
ton of
man,
these sound effects come from those sample CDs.
no
And
way.
so either they're on a sample CD and I couldn't find something. I think I couldn't find it there, and I had to go to like an M1 or something, because they had some like select sounds. They would otherwise be just this interesting little bell-ish keyboard, but you just do the one little plunk and like pull the release all the way back or something. But yeah, I mean, hunting
Man.
ancient sample CDs on archive.org. They have a whole website for some game jam they did. I definitely recommend people go check out the disc jam that Archive held on Itch. Well, it was just fantastic source of all these weird sounds that are going to end up being just so familiar the moment you hear them. So I don't know. It's good.
Wow, you really put a lot of research and effort into that, into just the backing track.
Well, I mean, and even I guess that's the thing, is this is all stuff that I had done prior. Like I'd looked for these
Okay.
things, and so I just knew this is where I'm going to find this kind of
Got it.
sound
You
effect.
had like a whole bank of all of this stuff. It wasn't
Yeah,
just specifically for this track. It was like
yeah. I think
work you had done in the past
yeah,
to gear up for this moment.
that's sort of the recurring theme. I think is that like you come to this track and it's like, wow, you did so much work for this one track, and it's like actually yes, and it took me several years to. But
Took me several years to collect all the things that went into this, but it took me an afternoon to complete it.
exactly, yeah, it's just about
Got
putting
it.
the pieces together.
Yeah. No, that it's really cool and pretty unique for weekly beats. At least I haven't heard any kind of like character voice acting stuff like this.
Yeah, I haven't really either. I think I've heard some great singing here and there. I think I heard a spoken word once or twice, but
Yeah.
nothing in the ballpark of like voice actor for your the next
Yeah.
indie game that you're about or whatever.
Totally.
So I did one thing did cool that had happened that one time this
Yeah.
past
Mhm.
one thing that happened this past weekly beats that was really cool is I released more than a few things under like Creative Commons, like
Yeah.
people should use this, and not a lot of people took it up on it. At the very least, didn't let me know if they did. Which it's part of the license. You're totally cool to do that. But one person did grab one of my voice lines from one of these things, and
Oh.
they sampled it into their song, and they did like some crazy pitch alteration and like effect processing, and it hit so fucking hard in the mix, dude. It was so cool. But then,
Do you
but then
remember who did that?
oh god, I even bookmarked it. I'm gonna have to come back. We can probably put this in
Yeah,
the
we
show
can
notes.
we can put it in the description.
But yeah,
Yeah,
a
that's really
fair
cool.
amount of my stuff is now I'm like I'm not gonna be precious with this. This idea is incomplete, and somebody should do something with it if they
True,
can.
true. Yeah. I definitely feel like we should all be using samples from
Absolutely.
everyone, you know. All right, well, we're going to keep it rolling and go to Spaceport Panic.
Woo!
Woo. Here we go. Yeah.
So I said this earlier, and I said this I said this while we were listening and our mics were muted. The This is one of the songs that took me like the whole week because I was learning on something. My first synth, as seems to be the case with almost everybody on this website, my first synth was a microcorg, and The same time that I saw the microKorg at the Guitar Center, I also, right next to it were the Korg Electribe, the red and the blue with the hot rod lights. I think the ESX one is what I have.
ESX1
might be ESX Electribe SX, something like
Oh
that.
yeah.
With the hot tubes that glow and all that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, let me tell you, I will say, very disappointed to learn this many years later that the glow is from LEDs. The tubes don't actually glow.
Oh, that's sad. That's
they
sad.
still work. They still totally work. It's just, you're hoping for something that's going to burn your hands. But yeah, I saw one functionally new. Like, it was in box, had hardly been touched, and it arrived exactly as described. And I was like, I need to make a multi-year dream come true. And I watched a million YouTube videos of people playing with it, and I thought, this is exactly what I need. And I put it together, and I did something. By the end of it, I did something really cool. You can actually, this song is on Weekly Beats twice. This is unfortunately one of those weird half, what'd you call it? Like a technicality almost. I did an early version of it. And in both ones, I'm recording it down to some interface, live performing out of the device and switching patterns because I hadn't figured out song mode perfectly just yet.
Got it.
And
so it's a performance.
It's a performance. It's a live performance of digitally placed notes. and it's but something in the first one I live played in the worst bongos you've ever heard in your life. And I think I named the track something like that. But then immediately after upload time, I was still just going at it because I knew what I had to do. I mapped a record scratch sample to just one of the sample tracks, and then I live played for the actual performance. I ran the whole thing through Chaos Pad 3 so I could do that phasey intro and get just a little whooshy whooshy. And then I'm also using minimal number of actual patterns and like muting and unmuting bits to actually get that build up at the start and the outro. But I played the record scratches on the arpeggio like slide thing. If you did the arpeggio on this thing, there's a little like almost mod wheel trackpad vertical slide, and it will just, that's the subdivisions of how frequently it'll hit for sort of like a fill or like a ratcheting or so on. And the other hand is on the pitch sample speed. And so that like up and down is all happening while I'm just twisting and flicking all over the place like a madman. And it sounds just like, I don't know, I think like a 1080 snowboarding for the N64, just like the way that they do record scratch stuff is it's clearly like one or two samples at most.
That's really cool though.
Yeah.
And so what like on this track you were doing all the live performance, same kind of stuff, but no bongos? No
bongos. I thought, I'll get my Apache break in somewhere else, and I don't know that I actually did the Apache break anywhere else.
Because I just looked, that track is called Inexplicably Bad Bongos.
Because it does it out of nowhere. They just come in and they sound really off, and it's terrible.
Well, maybe you definitely needed to do a remix of that one. So
yes, bongos only. That, I would say, the other thing that I spent my time those 2 weeks doing is I was working on this track and then sprucing up for a longer complete version, which just want to say on the video game side, this song is in a video game that just released this past month called Super 10 Pin. Super 10 Pin by Modus Interactive. It's this N64 style, what if bowling was mini golf kind of energy. And honestly, it's extremely fun. I know I'm biased because he's a friend of mine, and so anything I say is going to be positive because
Super 10 Pin.
But most of the tracks on the game are his, and there are some seriously good tracks in his selection, and then maybe like 5 or 6 are mine, and this is one of them. And they're I think just about all of them were written during Weekly Beats. So
cool.
A lot of the D&B we didn't cover in this was just other tracks that were worked on specifically for this game. And you can hear them if you go play it. I definitely recommend people go play this game.
Now, do you do game development as well?
Well, you would think that I would. My day job is programmer guy, and I think that's why I don't want to do
Yeah, yeah,
the
fair enough.
development side of it. Is because now I've had all the joy just sapped right out of me
Yeah.
for that. But who knows? Maybe something
But
will change.
one of the songs I picked, there is a little game jam on electric.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I played that little game before we joined.
Oh hell yeah! That will so, and I did do programming for that one because the music system to get all those loops to play well together and to like do the real time effects and bridge things that nobody on the team knew how to do that or how to even start doing it.
Got
And
it.
so, we had incredible artists do these beautiful visuals. We had some really talented people setting up like the crowd growth mechanism that was happening with it and making everything work that way. And then they were like, we really need you to actually do this. And I sort of, you know, big air shrug or whatever. It's like, I guess, but, but yeah, that was sort of fun.
That's cool. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
talk a little bit more about that when we listen to it.
of course.
Um, all right, we're gonna keep it rolling and do Inevitable next. Here we go.
It's not clear.
All right, that was inevitable. When I was writing my notes for the show, because I also picked this one, so we had to fight. But I wrote cinematic, epic, and I definitely hear your like game influence. I mean, this could be a movie score in addition to a game score, and there's more vocal acting going on in here.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about this one.
So with this one, I did all of the sort of synth qualities that you hear on this, all the synth drones, and I think there's maybe 2 synth parts and the occasional little like flourish, this little like high pitched echoey thing. So that's like, I think maybe 3 parts total in the song were done on the Osmos, and the bulk of the performance was done in one go. So like the little flourishes are added after the fact. There was some other sort of drone piece that I think is somewhere in there in the background, but the bulk of this was one go. I put record on the output from the Osmos. I put record on the output from my mic into my processing chain I had set up, and I played and performed the whole thing all together. And there's some note ranges that my fingers are not able to maintain, and I think I put like a Leatherman on one of the keys at one point to maintain the one drone note that never shifts up or down. And then I'm using the Osmos's little wiggly keys to like pitch up and down for that modal shift that keeps happening back and forth. And I think I did vocal synth too for the vocal performance itself, and a number of distortion possibilities. I have a couple outboard stuff, but I think for that it might have been, I think that was all done in a digital one. It might have been grind from Audio Damage. But I think there's a couple bits in the drone that are sort of like stereo spread wise are being passed through in like a mid-side thing. I think I separated out the side and put those through the Shallow Water by Fairfield circuitries. And so it's got just this chaotic warble that might be happening in there. But yeah, that was done mostly in one go. I think there was one bit of vocal performance I went back and did again. But and this is all ahead of or after several performance takes and going, oh no, I think I have something here.
I was about to ask, like, what do you do to get ready for this? Do you like, how do you, is it like all mapped out of like, I'm going to go here, this is how I'm going to build this?
So I almost want to open the project file right now and look, but I think I did.
Or is it like you do the base layers and then like come back and add some stuff on top?
No, with this one, I think it really just came down to, I knew this pitch thing was going to happen. I kind of knew what sort of direction, like I was just going to roughly reharmonize whatever I was doing up on top with just like changing the bass direction up and down, which is why again, Leatherman on the keyboard and the key on the middle. But I think what I wanted is with this one, I wanted to get away from the actual metronome and grid quality of using Ableton. And the only way to accomplish that was to just turn off the metronome.
Yeah.
Which I think I did at one point. I think I had it on at one point and I turned it off because I was like, this is making it too rigid. Mm-hmm. And so instead of the metronome, I let any sort of repeat in the delay kind of guide roughly how much counting I was doing. But no, it's like recording that, and just, I think several passes where I knew I had something good. I was like, okay, we need to actually just record the whole thing. And I need to be able to time, because, it's like this, the Osmos has all these pressure and like whatever sort of feedback things where you can get more intensity out of it. And I'm messing with like the mod wheel and who knows what else. I think the only thing that really came after were like adding those little twinkles and the automating some of the distortion drive. But again, I think I had that on a knob on a MIDI controller. But yet, no, I mean, it was playing around, and I knew that I wanted to match my vocal performance to what was happening in my head, sort of like progression wise in the story, which loosely something is coming and it is inevitable. Oh no. And
Oh no.
and then pressing more and more, because it's very responsive. The keys are really responsive to like whatever pressure you're giving in, and so I just wanted to be able to like go from this really low level dirt up through obliteration.
Yeah.
It's arrived, and it's not great. And
It's
yeah,
inevitable.
it all had to happen together, because the alternative was that I planned it out better, and planning is not, I don't do that good. So next best thing is just wing it the whole way through.
And I've never played an Osmos. I've watched plenty of videos, but I guess I didn't realize just like how expressive you can get in it to like, because this thing really builds.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing is you can with Osmos, and this is why it's probably my least regrettable synth purchase. I mean, it costs what, 1,800 now.
Yeah.
I backed it in the early backing phase when it cost 1,000. A
Oh
thousand is
wow.
still not like that's big time walking around money, right? That's not
Yeah.
nothing, but it definitely beats the 18. So, but between that and just you can barely press on a key and get something and have, you know, pitch expression and all this sorts of stuff just under your control. And so that's why that's been, I mean, it shows up in every single one of my therapy uploads for Weekly Beats, which are really where we should call phoning it in, because that wasn't even for Weekly Beats.
But
But
you're not a keyboard player, right?
not really, no. I mean, I am, in the sense that I keep playing this dang thing, but
Yeah.
I can't read sheet music at all.
You're like me, you're a pro noodler.
I noodle with the best of them, I'll tell you. But no, I mean, like getting chord shapes and stuff. Yeah, it's very much feel and feedback. I know often just from like relative pitch and other sorts of bits of like music theory background I think I've built up from just doing this for however
Yeah.
long I've done it. I know often when I'm looking at the keyboard and I'm playing one note, I know what the next note is in my head. I know where that will be. I just know that's
Yeah.
for semitones down. I know where it's going to be.
Right.
And but like other than that, no. I mean, like I think there's no shot I'll ever be able to play ragtime, for example. That's not the
No,
kind of
no.
keyboard quality that my hands are capable of.
That's well past noodling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially two-hand
Oh
playing.
yeah,
No,
bouncing around with the left hand on the chords and everything.
forget about it.
It's
No,
ridiculous.
no. I can program some MIDI though.
Oh boy, howdy. Let me click on that thing.
Let me drag this around.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna keep it going to one of my favorites,
Oh hell yeah.
electric. Here we go. All right, that was Electric. One of my favorites. And this is the one that there's a little game. It's not the entire song because this is, I think, more of a performance, right?
If this is week 2, I think week 2 is Electric. I think first week was Forced as Electric, and then week 3 technically is Electric, and that's what we just listened to.
Got it. And so there's a little game, and I'm going to do my best to describe it.
Yes.
So it's like a stage with like the stage equipment. There's like a station where you can like queue up some of the different parts of the music. There's like a little spinny thing that if you spin it, it changes like the cutoff filter. Like you can go to another thing and like set off some fireworks. You can go to another thing and like it changes the lights. And I guess I'm supposed to do this long enough where I'm like building a crowd. Is that right?
Yeah, generally there's some sort of icon that'll pop up over somebody's head, and that maps to some control on the stage that you have, and it's supposed to build up a crowd if you get your whole way through the game thing. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. And so this, a couple of the loops from this song are in that game.
Mm.
And according to your description on this, says, here's the full track, including a sick synth guitar solo, which it fucking is.
Thank you.
And the version of the song doesn't exist in the game because this is more of like a real-time manipulation of things.
Yeah. If this song was made up of all of the parts that were in the game, first off, there's an entire ARP section that you get to control on the side that isn't in this version of the song because I goofed up and completely forgot it.
I didn't even get to the ARP section. I need to go back and play it.
It's great. It is literally the ARP 2600 is its own little control on the stage that you get to mess with. I mean,
Nice.
I think we abstracted it a little bit more than that, but yeah, there was each section of this actually that individual loop is 4 versions long of whatever it is with all these different variations. That way, if somebody is having a hard time or like switching to the next section, or they're just enjoying the loop that they are inside of, I wanted it to not feel like it just absolutely repeated the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
And so there's this song is probably twice or so the length if it were the full version. That's sort of constitutes the game loops. But yeah, I did all the music and all of the sound effects for, so like the fireworks going off and all that snap crackle and so on. Some half good Foley work and half freesounds.org looking up bacon sizzle sounds, and
sweet.
and just compositing and pitching and treating different things to get these different sounds to sound perfect.
That's cool. And who did you make this game?
So there was on Itch they hold game jams, and one of the game jams at that time was the Synth Jam, and there was a little Discord put together, and I went into both the Discord and the forum directly on the website to talk to people about, hey, does anyone need music? This is a synth thing. These are my synth songs. And one of the ones I had pitched with was a song I put out as Franz Tormer called Human Cost. And I thought this is kind of the sort of anthemic, synthy, whatever that I'm going for. And I pitched the game idea of like, actually, I think I pitched in return to somebody else talking about how we're going to get synth stuff together. And like, what if we had a little live performance thing? And I was like, okay, well, these mechanics I know how to implement. So I looked back at Human Cost and how I made it, and it's all in the box. It's all like soft synths and a couple presets, a couple patches I made on Serum myself. And I just looked at the way I constructed that one and tried to reproduce some of that, but with repeating loops and all these other qualities that would be good in the game itself. And yeah, that final synth guitar solo is the Korg Monopoly VST.
Ooh, yeah.
And there's a little bit of phasing that happens with the sort of wah filter that's on it, where there are times where I'm like, I wish I could tweak this ever so slightly. But then for most of the solo, it sounds perfect. There's this one bit that I swear I was just ripping off Rat-a-tat or something. Just the way that when the two lines are going together, it just sounds. It was great. It really came together well over the weeks that we worked on that.
Yeah, that guitar solo is badass, and the entire song is just like you just said, anthemic,
Mhm.
like hopeful, uplifting, just like some great chord changes in there. And
Yeah,
so really, really dug that one.
yeah. It really feels good when you're playing and you get to build up the audience, and they're actually like getting sizable, and they're all bouncing like little pixel figures do, and they're so hyped to listen to your music, and it works. And in the game too, there was a little bit, again, the sound design wise, I tried to glue stuff together with just like a overall compressor and then a bit of a reverb to match the space, so it had a little bit of that pre-delay on the reverb that I usually don't do when I'm working with synths, because I want something that's less, I don't know, grounded in reality a lot of
Yeah.
times.
Hmm.
But that pre-delay to just give a little bit of that, the same thing when you go to a live concert, you're hearing something bouncing off of who knows
Right.
where, and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
get that going. So it
That's cool.
was cool. It was fun.
Man, you really think about all the details.
I obsess, I might say, but yeah. Just like, this has to happen this way. And then now I'm staying up really late.
All right. We're going to move it on to my next pick, which is 2600 Reasons Why I Love This Synth.
Perfect.
Hell yeah. All right. That 2600 sounds fucking great.
I love this thing so much. I don't think I'm ever going to part with this particular synthesizer without, at the very least, replacing it with the exact same, or like the full sized version or something, should I ever have an apartment with room for such a thing. But yeah, I love that guy. It's great. And I think there's a little bit you can hear in there. I just recommend anyone who can, if you have something either semi modular or something with an external input, feed the filter output back into the filter. I think it's an old Moog trick. I know more than a few people who own a mini Moog will literally have a tiny guitar patch cable to just run it out from the filter out back into the filter. And it can be disgusting. I did that to much more dramatic effect on some other songs in Weekly Beats, but on this one, it was just a beautiful sound coming out of a frankly scientific looking machine.
Yeah, and you really got the side chain going on this thing.
Oh yeah, we're
It's like pumping.
really going hard on that Dead Mouse masterclass training. Making the most of that money.
Yeah. Side chain the hell out of it.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, the 2600 sounds great. I don't know if you've checked out the Anthony Marinelli YouTube channel.
This rings a bell. I think I have
He's the
seen.
guy that did a lot of the synth work on Thriller.
Oh yes.
And he's like a ARP 2600 like master. So he has a lot of good videos and
Oh
like
yeah.
not that I have one, but I've definitely done my research.
I mean, before I had this, I began lusting after it by just using the Korg VST for it. I think it might not even been the Korg one initially. It might have been I think Arturia has.
Sounds about right.
I think they have one. Regardless, I was like, okay, I actually need this thing. It's just such a good like 3-voice architecture, but everything is laid out for like educational purposes, and it makes it look so, I don't know, inhuman in a way, while being really usable and
Yeah.
easy to learn on. No, it's amazing. I think that whole thing of people, it's sort of like how you see people still making games in like RPG Maker from like 2007 or something, right? Like there's a game just came out that runs on the Doom 3 engine, right? No one's using the Doom 3 engine anymore, except a bunch of indie devs. And the fact that it's been out for so long means there's resources out the ass for how to use it, right? I was able to look up the original manual for the ARP 2600, like the original flavor, not what I have here. But because it's so very close to the exact same architecture, I think it's missing maybe a couple in the voltage processing area. Because it's so close, I'm able to reproduce like patch ideas they have in this ancient manual.
Yeah,
And
that's so cool.
I was like, oh, I definitely see how you can make R2D2 sounds with this thing.
Oh yeah.
That makes perfect sense how somebody made R2D2 sounds with this behemoth. No, it's beautiful. I love this thing.
Yeah, and I think the only thing that has held me back from not getting one is the fact that you can't save patches on it. I mean, I know that's kind of the point,
I
but
don't know. I don't know if it is, honestly. I think if there was a version, have you seen that one synth that's got motorized knobs on it?
ooh, yeah.
Yeah, if they had essentially that, but with the faders on this, I wouldn't be against it at all. I think that would be incredible. I mean, that's a million more moving parts that can break down the line. But
The
like
Melbourne Instruments
the
one, right?
Melbourne, yes, that's the one. And like because that's always been my chief problem with using any synthesizer that has presets is and I've got plenty, right? Like most of them are digital inside of a computer, but just like the idea with the physical ones is the knobs now have no bearing on the sound and you have no idea what's going on with it.
Yeah.
And you have to either hunt for the right thing and then suddenly have it snap into view, or do that like pickup mode. I think I do on most of these where like you fade it, and once it passes the point where the value already is, then it actually accepts the input. Because the other one where it just jumps to wherever you were if you touch something is kind of a nightmare. But no, I think it would be better if somehow you could just recall the entire patch at any time and all the sliders would be in the right place.
Yeah, I mean, Melbourne Instruments is onto something good,
Oh yeah.
especially with their new roto control.
I saw something about that, I think, recently on
It's essentially a MIDI
Wikipedia.
controller that's just the knobs.
Yeah.
And what's cool about it is you can make the knobs feel like they're detented.
That's really cool.
And
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
and you can make them have like different weights, like it's harder to turn or it gets harder to turn. And
Yeah.
they're all drone motors.
Yes. No, I first saw this on, I got the Teenage Engineering, the little one with the wheel on it. It's
Yeah.
got the same thing. It's got a drone motor inside, and it doesn't just spin. You can also, like, when you're controlling stuff, there's this fake detent quality as you're spinning it
Mm.
around, and it's ridiculous. It's like, how does this feel so real? So no, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
Melbourne's onto something for sure.
The only reason I haven't gotten one is because I was like, oh, I can connect this up to the M8,
Uh huh.
but it doesn't receive the signal, like the MIDI signal. So if I switch to like a different song or make a change in the M8, it's not going to update
So the
the.
M8's not sending back out to the.
Yeah, the roto control only sends to the unit. So I'm like,
That's a bummer.
yeah,
That's only
maybe
half of
one
it.
day technology
Yeah.
will catch up. Yeah. So
God, I love the M8.
yeah, we haven't even talked about the M8. Like people are got their bingo cards ready, and
We can talk about it right now. Let's let the people get their bingo cards scratched off. Free space M8.
yeah, did you make any M8 songs this
Uh,
past
a,
year?
a little bit. I definitely make more music on the M8 in my off years than I do now in
Okay.
my on years. I'd say. I think in previous years with Weekly Beats, I've definitely done more M8 stuff just because it's perfect. I have, like, I've got three M8s now. I
Oh
have
man.
the I was lucky enough to get in with that initial 100 batch. So I've got one of the prototype, one of the early
Oh
ones with like
sweet.
the little sandwiches, no metal involved. I've got obviously the first run, and then when I saw Model 2 was opening back up somewhat recently, I picked that up
You're a
because
collector.
I am an ardent supporter of the
Yeah.
M8. I think that thing kicks most other, like, Groovebox or anything similar. It kicks their ass. I think
Man.
it's so much better and costs so much less than so many amazing things. And then I still buy these other things, and then they sit there unused. But
Yeah, because I'm on the M8.
yeah, no, I think
So
it's
do
perfect.
you finish many songs in the off year on the M8?
Finish, probably not so much. I do have a couple of sketches on, I'd call them sketches, I guess, on the M8. There's one that ended up in the last Weekly Beat round, which in an off year I had made this one jam. I took a portion of a Rippingtons song, and I turned it into this weird skatey sci-fi sort of ARP by just like slicing and enveloping these different sounds out of that one little bit. And I'm obsessed with it. I almost did it by accident, and I'm obsessed with it. And as a result, that song needs to be perfect before it's actually released.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there was one that I did for Weekly Beats this year where I sort of dusted it off on the M8 Model 2, and sort of
And finished an off year in progress song.
Sort of, yeah. I think I took it a little further because really all I had was that ARP. But then I made something that at least is a song, even if I still feel like that's not its final form. Like, it's got to look like something else. It doesn't look like that when it's done. I just
Yeah,
don't know what it does look like yet,
yeah.
which is always frustrating.
I'm trying to finish songs in the off year, but I've got like several M8 projects that I just keep like bouncing in between and
Mhm.
like adding a little bit here, and then let me go check on this other one that's in progress.
Yeah, bouncing them out as you have them and listening to them on repeat when you're walking around, I've seen as a great way to cement their position and stop you from changing them.
Oh
That's been something
yeah,
that helps
yeah,
me, is if I listen to it enough, then that becomes the canonical version of the song,
yeah,
and changing it in some way then feels wrong.
dude, I feel
Uh,
that.
so
I
that's
because
just always a good move.
there's one I've been working on, and I've got like 3 or 4 different arrangements of it, and there's like some different parts of the different arrangements, like, but most of it's the same.
Mhm.
And it's kind of getting to that point now where it's like I just got to pick my favorite arrangement
Mhm.
because I've listened to it for so long already that like changing it is sort of like ruining it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I bounce them, and if I have to go, well, I live in New York. I'm out in Queens, and so I don't have to walk too far for a lot of things. But if I do have to go for a walk, I'm usually putting in my headphones. I'm listening to VLC on my phone, and I have little playlists of stuff that I've been working on that I want to
Nice.
release and that needs finishing. And I listen to it, and I'm trying to figure out what's wrong. And at some point, some of these songs just graduate from what's wrong to why isn't it out yet? And it's just, you know what, actually
Yeah.
the flaws in this, and that happened with actually more than a few songs that I made for that now are in the soundtrack for the game before.
Cool.
But yeah, no, M8 rules. Everybody should have one. I think that
Yeah.
they should give them out in schools. Like I can't sing its praises high enough.
Oh, me too, man. I think it would be a great educational
I really do. I think it's
tool,
awesome. I think it's
you
awesome. I
know?
think it's got the form factor that I think, kids are gonna actually find fun, as opposed to, like, I heard on one of the previous episodes you got a Digatone too. Is that right?
Yeah, I did.
I
Yeah.
love that machine.
Man, and ever since I just recently installed Overbridge,
Oh yeah,
and oh my god, like
game changer.
uh quenched my thirst for adding more like interface inputs because I'm like
Hmm.
like I can record every single track, and then I've got enough inputs on other interfaces I can record all my external instruments that I've got connected up to it.
Oh yeah. I mean, treating each of those instruments on the Digatone as its own in your DAW is just wild. Like
Yeah.
that's bonkers to begin with. But like, I love that machine. I would never hand that to like a kid of some range of age to be like, "Hey, why don't you learn how to make some music, kiddo?"
No.
Like,
That's I think while I think that because before I got one, I was a little afraid of the like, oh, the Electron workflow,
oh yeah,
but when I got it, I was like, this is not that
no.
difficult. I mean, it's no Octatrack, which
I
that
was gonna say,
I
ooh.
watch videos of that, and I'm like, that's not for me.
Honestly, I think it's even an improvement in terms of workflow. I think the Digitac, Digatone are both just better over even the Rhythm, which is my drum machine. I've got the Rhythm too, and the kit separation thing that it has going on
Yeah, yeah.
is very cool technically, and in practice is an annoyance. And it's just, you don't have that problem, I think, on the Diggy series.
The only thing that I wish it had is a track solo button.
Oh.
Cause like sometimes I don't want to mute all the tracks. I just want to hear one for like in isolation real quick
Hmm.
and then go back to the rest, you know?
Yeah. And are you doing that in like a performance setting, or even just like trying to dial something in?
I think just trying to dial something in of like, oh, I want to hear what this sounds like by itself. And then I
Yeah.
gotta like go mute everything else and then, but I think it could be handy uh in a like performance situation to be able to have like several soloed and then switch out sort of thing.
Yeah. Or get like, I think it's got, doesn't the Diggy Tone have like extra outs somewhere? Or I'm making that part up? I was just thinking like a cue. The idea of a cue would be cool as well for the
Oh,
solo.
that would be cool. Yeah.
But yeah, no, because I was thinking about it and I was like, oh well, I've done that, but it's always been in the composition arena where I'm like, let's say time means less, right? I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
have to keep the party going to get the solo going. So
Not that I've like done any performances with it. I mean,
no, but still,
I did
yeah,
post some videos on YouTube of just like kind of a performance.
yeah,
Which I it's definitely has more performative opportunities than the M8
yeah,
unless
yeah.
I get a bunch of other stuff
Unfortunately,
to hook up to the M8.
right?
But uh, like my last episode with XN, he talks
Hmm.
about using the M8 with Digitone or other Electron gear and
Yeah,
using the M8 a little bit more as like a backing track sort of thing.
yeah. I've got some dream scenario where I'm using the M8 as just like the center hive mind thing where it's at like all the tracks are MIDI out of some variety.
Yeah.
And I'm just triggering all these different synths to do whatever it is. And there's nothing stopping me from doing this. But I just don't do it. But every time I think about it, I'm like, that'd be so rad. But
do you do any performance stuff?
I'm working my way back up to doing some. I did a few, I think during Weekly Beats year, I did some streams and they're like 2 hours, maybe an hour, something like that. I was working up to them, but streams of just like Franz Tormer, I would take, for the stream purposes, I would take one of my existing songs, sort of deconstruct it and rework it so that I had something I could perform live. So cool. I'm doing solos on the Osmos in real time.
Wow. All right.
None of them as fast and crazy as on electric or anything, but like, I'm doing some brave noodling over. Boy, there's a lot of mistakes in it, but I think that's one of the things that is
live,
fun.
baby. It's live.
People are more patient in the live space. They're especially if you don't have a delay with the feedback cranked to 99, that's going to play your mistake back at you over and over and over again.
They can't even ask for their money back.
No, that's true.
Yeah. So
I guess they could tip bits, but I'm not that big yet either. So, but no, I'm trying to get back to it because it's cool. Very fun. It's just that it's that planning thing. I have to actually plan in advance, get this, actually construct the show and then do the performance. Otherwise, just what am I wasting people's time with? And
I need to get back to messing around on the Digitone and gear up for doing some sort of live stream because I've got my like basement lair kind of all set up
it's looking rad in there,
especially with Overbridge. I'll be able to like have a little bit more control over like external synths and everything to like pipe it all in live. So
getting in like automating stuff like program change and so on using Ableton and it's just live. It's such a live. I mean, it's in the name, but it's such a live oriented thing that if you can make it work right.
I do need to check out this Ableton.
You don't. I mean, whatever you have is probably good. That's what I always tell
Have you heard of GarageBand?
I have heard of GarageBand, and I'll have you know, I spent many good years in GarageBand. I think it's gotten worse over the years, though. I don't know.
I mean, I'm a simple man, so I just run this podcast into it, chop some stuff up, and then export it. So.
I mean, but that's the other thing. You're on like M8 already, so like that's your workstation is there, and you're good to go.
Yeah, like during the Weekly Beats year, I would typically export my stems and do some like EQ, mixing, mastering. But now that the EQ stuff is built into the M8, like
that was huge.
Yeah,
I was just thinking about that before the episode. It's just like when the EQing got added for instruments, you could actually do even more in the box. I mean, that machine is ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, not that I've been putting out a lot of songs recently, but it kind of like, I don't know how much I'll need to do in the box because now there's a limiter in there too. So,
no, it's perfect. It's so good.
Swoon.
Yeah, shout out to Trash.
Swoon. Shout out Trash 80. Tim. Thank you for making amazing stuff.
Love to say nice things about a guy named Trash. It's so good.
Okay, we're gonna play next your singing debut.
Oh,
and it's good. All right, here we go.
I don't wanna make my beat today. I just wanna play my video games. 'Cause it's so damn hard to jam right now when all I wanna do is lay around. I don't wanna do my beats today. I don't wanna do my weekly beats. Hacking dudes in a game sounds oh so sweet. I know I'll love it if I sit right down. I make some big boobs and jam Yes, I got her. So
killer vocals for a guy that claims to have never sung before. And
Not on any record, at least. No recordings. No
right,
photos, please.
to your cats or
Yeah. Oh, to
you
my
know.
cat so much. Make up songs about that guy all the time.
And I think there's just something about this being a song about not wanting to make a song that is very like, I think anyone who has participated in Weekly Beats, even if it's not the entire time, you get this feeling.
Yup.
And what a perfect way to overcome this, like, not very motivated while also experimenting with something new.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a great excuse to get over that block. To actually sing for the first time, to actually do the weekly beat that I really just didn't want to bother with. I think making myself the sort of the butt of the joke in it, in a way, I think is
Yeah,
what got
yeah.
me over the lip for it. But
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something admirable about just not taking yourself so seriously,
yeah.
because I think that has maybe stopped me from doing like wild, crazy experiments because, and it's not necessarily to make other people happy. It's just I'm
Mm.
worried that by the end of the week, I'm going to make something that I don't really like.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think I am a little hung up sometimes about making other people make, at the very least, like, did I make something other people are going to enjoy? You know,
Yeah.
that's unfortunately or fortunately, it's some undercurrent to most of this kind of stuff. And I think I was too afraid of trying a more sincere song, because what if I do give it 100% and I try and make a really good song and I sing as well as I can, and what I find out is when I play it back that I hate that, and that other people also hate that, that
Man,
would
yeah.
be the worst. And
Yeah.
so, this helped me at least do, I don't know, just kind of have my cake and eat it too. But it's also, yeah, like you said, like, don't take myself so seriously. That way I can actually have a little fun, invite people. You can make fun of me if you want. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
or at the very least, you can laugh at and with me on this.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that we can all sort of, I know for a fact we've all been here at this point. And
100%.
yeah, I also would say that I think I put a little too much effort and energy into making this sound as low effort and low energy as I could. like like trying to find like the right, I think I used the drum machine was what was it, like one of the ones that was proto drum machine, like even before the Phil Collins drum machine that he used on whatever, one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He had that little background guy. It was something like the CR something, I think 78, maybe. I don't know. Names escape me.
I'm low on drum machine history,
Oh man. I mean, it sounded doofy in a
but
great way.
Casio vibes.
Yes, Casio vibes. Casio into a tape recorder was the quality I think
Yeah.
I was trying to go for.
So you're
And
telling me that you spent a little bit more time than that?
oh, I did spend a little time.
I mean, I would do the same. So
Yeah. So it was a little bit of effort. I had to make it sound like, I think there is something to be said for putting effort in to sound like it's not, like you're not putting in effort,
yeah. Yeah.
So
I
I
guess
mean,
it's no
I think,
different than people that wear clothes so they kind of look poor,
right. If you
but
have
they're
a,
like $400 jeans.
exactly, a certain kind of look that it takes a lot of effort. No, with the I think to that point, the vocals sound, however that, good, bad, I think they sound correct for the song. But I think I mentioned this earlier, either in the podcast, my mind is blank, or if it was before. But I have Celemony Melodyne, and so I'm able to go in and do pitch correction. And I didn't do very much pitch correction on this at all because I thought I wanted it to sound a little loose. But there was this one note that was just bugging me, and I had to go and tweak it, and that was that rabbit hole that I think I did mention going down. But
Yeah.
that's an insane amount of work to put into what was 2 notes, ultimately 2 little syllables even. And I literally had to like force myself to take my headphones off and leave the desk to like
You weren't
reset.
like, I'll just do another take.
No, no, unfortunately that would have made a lot of sense, but I think I did do several takes. That's the other thing, is like, to get it sounding this way, I did do several runs of different parts. And I think hacking dudes in a game, I literally had Ableton looping that one part, and I was just doing its multi-take thing that it has. So I could like
Yeah, yeah.
fold them all out and like position, okay, this syllable's perfect. All right, let's put this piece over here. And now it's a mess.
That's great. Now, great tune, great singing. I look forward to hearing more of your singing tunes next year.
Thank you.
And in whatever format, because you've got your like character voice stuff, you got your I'm not sure what singing. I mean, this is just like sort of basic singing, but I
Yeah.
think
It's almost
I'm
character stuff, at least as I have it now, right?
yeah, and then there's the whole when I think of like sort of like tweaked vocals like Tame
Mm-hmm.
Impala
Mm-hmm.
or like just sort of like these reverbed out, like where you almost can't really hear what's being sung. It's almost like another instrument,
Yes. Yeah. I
like
think I do want to do
disguise.
more of that for sure.
Yeah. So that will probably be where I try to go when I do my singing. So you can be like, I think that's singing.
Yeah.
So
And may I recommend burying your voice in vocal synth too, because
all right.
it has worked on. I've done that now across 2 Weekly Beats years. I dipped my toe very briefly in the previous Weekly Beat
Vocal
year
synth
doing that.
too. All right.
Yeah, it's just a fancy vocoder, but it's got some cool things going on, octaves
Cool.
and harmonization and so on.
I'm going to check it out.
But
Well, we are near the end of our episode.
oh man,
Man.
yeah,
So I think we've covered most of the typical topics,
sure.
unless there's you know, any other things you want to talk about that you want to do next year, or, things from this past year?
The thing I think my number one focus for next year is going to be plugging into the community stronger, because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
been something I love seeing. I go in, even on weeks where I go and I just hit play on the week and go play a video game and listen to songs. I need to just get into the habit of either marking down, this track was good, I should go comment on it, or pausing and going and saying something. Just because I kind of lurk, and I think I need to be better about that, because people make amazing music on this site and I don't always tell them that.
Yeah. And I, I tried to comment on people's stuff that commented on mine,
Sure.
and try to branch out from my normal, what became like my normal listening queue,
Hmm.
where you kind of get like a solid group of people where you're like, all right, I'm definitely going to hit these every week.
Yeah.
But I posted recently in the Discord that being a part of this community has like, I guess, restored my faith in humanity and the internet,
Yeah.
because like there's so many terrible corners of the internet, and none of those people seem to exist in the Weekly Beats community. Like there's no
Yeah.
one trash talking other people's music. Like I don't know if it's just something about everyone not only being creative people, but all creating under the same constraints, but
Hmm.
with varying different methods and styles. I don't know, but I think it's magical.
It is. Yeah. I don't really see anybody who's just kind of an asshole about it.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it comes a bit just with, like, there's nobody's hopping on Weekly Beats and suddenly making millions. Like, everybody
Yeah.
here is, the output is you were creative with other creatives.
Right.
And that has to be what's valuable to you, is being creative with other creatives and having that space and that commitment.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think it's sort of self-selecting bunch in that way.
for sure. And I will throw this out there. I haven't publicly talked about this idea for like how to keep the podcast going for next year,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll throw it out there and we can get the discussion going because we're like, almost halfway through the year or more than halfway through the year.
Oh yeah.
But I've been thinking about doing sort of like a community fielded weekly radio show where it's
Mm-hmm.
less of an interview, but like people can submit songs of like, hey, this from this week, check out this song from like Headbreak,
Yeah.
or
Recommend somebody else's stuff.
and maybe record a little intro about what they like about it.
Oh, I love that.
I tape it all together, and then we can still kind of have like this community curated thing that you can like listen on your commute and go back to the description and go back and comment on stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think that's one issue with listening from the website is it's there's no intro of like who's playing it or what the name
Mm-hmm.
of the song is.
Yeah.
So if you're
Like I
entertained
do.
with,
Yeah. You're just
yeah,
playing through the like this week's list. It's like, oh wait, that song 4 songs ago was extremely good, and I should go back and comment
yeah,
on
and you're
it.
like, what was that? Do I need to go back and comment on that? So something where you can a little bit more passively listen, but still know who the song was by, so you can go back
Yeah.
and comment. And it's not an AI voice that's like,
Yeah.
uh,
Screw that noise.
Scott X is next,
Welcome to Wiki Beats.
So that's kind of what I've been toying around with. Like,
I like
how
that.
can I keep this going? That's a lot less effort, so I can actually like make music, but
Mm-hmm.
still help the community find music they like, and give shout outs to people. Something you can listen to on the way to work. So
That's so good. And it's got that like caller quality. Like, oh, we got this recommendation coming from
yeah.
this
First,
person at
first time,
Alachuki.
first time caller.
I just want, I want you to know I've been listening to you guys for a really long time.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, we can have some character voices on there too. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been thinking about
I
during the
like that.
weekly beats year. So you're on the top of my list for some maybe fake commercials.
Oh, please. I've
Yeah,
done that before and it's really fun. I
I
am
knew you
on
had.
board.
I knew you had. Well, cool. It was great hanging out and
Yeah.
listening to your music.
This has been a treat. I've been working my way back through the episodes, and I'm
Awesome.
gonna just keep this up. It's really been a perfect pairing for some of the video
Cool.
games that I've been playing, and it's nice to go check people out. And
Awesome.
I'll just make sure to actually go comment on their songs because they're
There
so
you
stinking
go.
good.
There you go. People love getting comments in the
They
middle of the
do.
off year
They
too.
deserve them. They deserve
Yes.
nice comments because they make
100%.
awesome stuff.
Well, we're gonna close it on out with a song called Bummer. Uh I
Yeah.
I don't know why you named it Bummer, because I don't think it's a bummer of a song, but I do have to read the description.
Yes.
It says, big farts, man. Some good big news this week, but in small news, just big farts. So I think these are amazing fart sounds. I dig this song. So
Thank you. Yeah. It was born out of a real farty energy, but sometimes that turns into good sounds that aren't
yeah.
farts.
Well said.
Nothing more needs to be said. That's it.
Yeah. Well, cool. We're going to close it out with that. And thanks again, everyone who continues to listen. And yeah, go comment on some people's stuff. And we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Later.